Hello there, and welcome to the next section. In this section, we'll use jQuery to add some dynamic effects to our web page over the next lectures. So, what is jQuery? jQuery is by far the most popular JavaScript library in the world. It is completely free and open source software. And jQuery makes it incredibly easy to select and manipulate HTML elements, create animations, or even develop Ajax applications. For example, jQuery can be used for finding an element in an HTML document with a certain property, like all h1 elements, and then changing one or more of its CSS attributes, or making it respond to an event like a mouse click. jQuery's architecture allows developers to create plugins to extend jQuery's function. There are literally thousands of jQuery plugins available on the internet for free that we can download and include in our websites. The links in a course ebook will help you getting started with this. So let me start off by showing you some jQuery plugins so that you can see the endless possibilities we have with jQuery. So the first plugin I'm going to show you is this Magnific pop-up, and this is a responsive lightbox and dialog script where we can create like galleries, as you can see here, and these are actually responsive, or you can, well, this is the same. You can, for instance, open a YouTube video or open a Google map, all kinds of stuff which require kind of a pop-up. So even a modal dialog is possible with this. Okay, next up, I have this one called Tooltipster, and this allows us to create these tooltips, which are additional informations which we can see when we hover over a certain element. And you probably have seen those somewhere, like all different kinds of tooltips. And yeah, this is kind of easy to use. So we have the instructions down here, and well, you can use this in your project if you want to. And next is a plugin called Maplace.js, and this helps us to embed Google Maps into our website and to even create markers and control menu for locations on a map. And down here we have some examples, simple maps, and then with markers and with even more advanced stuff. So this is pretty powerful and allows us to do all kinds of stuff with maps, and also very easy to use. Next we have this one. This is maybe not so useful, but I find it kind of cool, and it's called Typer.js, which is a jQuery plugin that types, and it looks just like this here. So it deletes the text and writes some new text, and you can use this to show multiple content in a single line, and I think it creates a cool effect. And the last one I want to show you is this one-page scroll, and what this does is it creates multiple sections where we can see always one section after the other like this. So each section fills the whole viewport height. And you can create some beautiful stuff with this, like presentation style websites. Alright, and now before we finish this lecture, let's just include jQuery in our project and create a new JavaScript file, which is where we will create all our jQuery code. Alright, so to include jQuery, we use the Google Hosted Libraries Distribution Network. And so down here, we scroll down here, alright. So down here, we just grab this script and paste it to our website, just as we did before with those three scripts. So basically, jQuery is also a huge JavaScript file which creates a jQuery, which we can then use to create some powerful stuff, such as I explained to you before. And actually, we should put it not here, but before we close the body element. So this is the correct, maybe not the correct, but it's the perfect place to put the JavaScript files, so that they are only called after the rest of the web page is loaded. And now the last thing before we finish is to create a new JavaScript file. And I'm going to save it, and I'm going to call it scripts.js. And since it's our file, it goes into the resources folder and then JavaScript, which is empty, but not anymore. So let's now use a very basic example just to see if jQuery actually works. Okay, so every document where we write our jQuery code has to start like this. So we write document and ready, and this ensures that this code can only run after the document has been loaded. And in here we have to write this code word, function, and then open some curly braces and then give it some space. So, and inside of this we will put all our code. Now, just to test this, let's pretend we want to change the background color of the h1 element. So in jQuery, to select any element, we do it like this. So this is the selector, and now we can do this just like in CSS. So in here I'm going to write h1, and now we use a click method. So a method is like a function. So when we will click that h1 element, this is the function that will happen. So then we want this, so we select this element, and this keyword here now means our h1 element, because that's what we selected in the first place. So let's use the CSS method, and in here we can change CSS properties. So we can write background color, for example, and then as the second value, and brackets actually helps us here by saying we want a string here. So we now say the color, and we want it to be red, and this is the RGB code for red, if you remember. So a string is like a couple of characters grouped together, such as this background color or this. Okay. Now, before we can test this code, we need, of course, to incorporate this JavaScript file in the index.html file. So down here where we called the other JavaScript files, right? So now we add a new script here, and in this case it is on our computer, and it is the one we just created. So it's in the resources folder and the script.js. And I close it, and now this should work. And now we can click this, and the background turns red, such as we said in our jQuery code. So let's quickly review this. So we select the h1 element, and then we use the click method. So when we click on the h1 element, it selects this, so the h1 element we selected in the first place, and then it changes the CSS style of that element. And in this case we add a background color and make it red. And that's exactly what happened. Alright, so we don't need this anymore actually. This was just to show you that everything works. And now in the next couple of lectures we're going to add some real world jQuery code to make our website even better. So, see you in the next lecture.